Welcome back to the program, everyone. My name is Jeff. I'm going to point to my right shoulder because that means that's the right way to point. And that's how I remember. I got to remember how to do it because this camera makes everything backwards. There's my Twitter handle. I comment on things over there. We got free stuff. We have a Telegram. We have a free newsletter, which is scrolling across the bottom. Obviously, these videos are free. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That's all we ask. And get the free newsletter too. It's just, if you like this kind of content, I just want to know that you still want it and you want this kind of stuff. So please do that. Helps out the channel. Share it with someone who wants to know a little bit more about crypto, finance, whatever. Today, what are we talking about, Jeff? Well, we're talking about the Bitcoin halving. Now it's scheduled. Let me share my screen real quick and we'll give you a more precise, even though it's not precise, and I'll tell you why. But here's the Bitcoin block reward halving countdown. Now it's 4 days and 20 hours as I sit here recording this on a Sunday evening. And I highlighted down the bottom here, it says April 20th at about almost 3 a.m. in UTC, which is Greenwich Mean Time, I believe. That's London time. So about 3 a.m. in London, which will be, it'll be the 19th in the United States. So you get the idea. It's coming soon. It's less than 5 days away as I sit here recording. So first off, why is it not precise? Okay. It's because the blocks are solved roughly every 10 minutes. And the closer we get to that event, the fewer blocks that are left, and the more likely they're going to be exactly 10 minutes. And we'll know pretty much what the time is going to be. So it's not a precise time according to what you know is time, but according to Bitcoin time. And if you know a little bit more about Bitcoin, Satoshi actually called it a time chain because he was creating his own time mechanism, but that's a little bit esoteric, a little bit beyond this discussion, but Bitcoin's world of time is different than our world of time. It's basically, it's going to happen every so often, roughly every 10 minutes, based on the number of people that are mining. But miners come online, go offline. That people they guess the answer a little bit sooner. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. It's about 10 minutes of blocks, and it's about 1,000 blocks a week. So we're about six. Oh, how many blocks did it say? About 600 or so. Doesn't say how many blocks, but it's every 210,000 blocks, which works out to be just over 4 years. It's like 4 years and a couple of days. It's about 1,000 blocks a week if you do the math, and assume it's a 10-minute block. But anyway, what are we talking about? Why are we forget the math? Okay, the halving is coming soon, right? That's when the supply gets cut. It happens once every 4 years, kind of like an election or the Olympics or other 4-year events. You get the idea, right? It doesn't happen very often. This is only the second Bitcoin one I've been through because I started right after in 2016. Just missed that one. I've been through 2 Litecoin halvings. So I'm here to talk to you about what happens at the halving. I have bad news for you, I think, but maybe it's good news too. Pretty much nothing. Okay, it's pretty much going to be a non-event. It's somewhere between celebrating a holiday you don't celebrate, or like the eclipse that doesn't go over your house, or you're not in the area to see it, or it's not even as big as like when you go to the mailbox and you realize that the post office is closed, or you go to the bank and the bank is closed for some federal holiday you didn't even know it was. That's more of an event because it's more impactful to you than that day than the halving is going to be. This is going to be like staying at home for New Year's Eve and going to bed at 10 o'clock. Okay. You had no idea. You just wake up the next day. Oh, it happened. Big deal. Okay. It's going to be a non-event for you. I'm sorry. You can sit there. You can do Bitcoin watch parties or halving parties or whatever. There's nothing to see. There's no ball to drop for New Year's Eve. There's no fireworks. There's nothing that happens except some miner or some mining pool is going to get rewarded their Bitcoin at the first block after the halving, and it's going to be half as much it's going to be 3 1/8 Bitcoin instead of 6 1/4. That's the only difference. And you're not going to see it because you're not running a mining rig, more than likely. And even if you do, odds are you're not going to see it right away. But you just know that your income is going to be cut in half if you are a miner, because now the rewards are going to be a half of what they used to be. So Bitcoin miners, instead of making 900 Bitcoin a day, which is what they're doing right now up until the halving, it's going to drop to 450 a day. And that's all the miners. That's all the miners added together. So if you happen to be running one miner, you may see 1 Bitcoin a month if you're lucky. It depends on how much hash power you have, and hey, a lot of different factors, right? But you get the idea. Unless you're running a mining rig, you're not going to see this. Unless you're part of a mining operation, you're not going to see this. But what you're going to see is the after effect. You're going to see the part where, okay, now the ETFs are buying 10,000 plus Bitcoin a day, and Jeff just said there was 900 made a day by the miners, and now it goes down to 450. So now they were buying 11 times their daily production per day. So they were outpacing production by a factor of 11. Now it's going to get to 22. Sounds like that's going to impact the supply. So that's what happens. Eventually, it starts to catch up. So that supply shock typically happens anywhere from 6 to 18 months after the halving. That's when the Bitcoin world was driven by miners. Now we've got a lot more demand because we have all these ETFs and all this extra capital that's coming into the marketplace and gobbling up Bitcoin. We've got Mr. 100 as well, who buys he buys 100 at a time, and sometimes he does it like several times a day. He did go a couple of days with skipping, but that's just him or her or whatever entity is that account, because we have no idea. We just know the address. We just know that they have a lot of Bitcoin. They buy about 100 at a time, and it's a lot. So he's bought like 1,000 a day, maybe even more, just on his own. So add that to the ETFs. Add the fact that there's ETFs now coming from Hong Kong. We have all this demand for Bitcoin that wasn't there before. Now, all the other halving cycles, the 4-year cycle, was driven by the miners because they were the worker bees. They're still the worker bees, right? They're still mining. They're still doing what they do. And there's still an economy based on what the miners need. They got to sell. They have to sell to take profits to pay their bills. And they have to also buy new mining rigs to keep up with the latest and greatest and keep up their hash power and such. But that operation is now going to be much smaller of a factor than the ETFs now, which are buying up a ton of Bitcoin. So it used to be that the world of miners drove a lot of this, and now that's going to be smaller and smaller and smaller part of the over economic ecosystem for Bitcoin. So the question is, when does the supply run out? What happens then? That's what we talk about on our AMAs that Dylan and I do once a month. We're doing another one I think this Thursday, and let me share that. Let's see. I don't have that ready, but I will make that real quick. Let's see. I think it's the date. It's going to be on Thursday. So, all right. So there we go. I can show that. So go to EconomicPreppers.com. It'll be in the description as well. But you just join our inner circle. It's $47 a month. Dylan and I talk to you for an hour or so. And we're also putting out this free newsletter. You can also text that phone number if you have other questions. That reaches out to me. I have appointments as well if you want to get a one-on-one consultation. We're working on a number of different things. But we know we've been through this. I've been in crypto almost 8 years now. So I've seen 3 halvings, one for Bitcoin. This will be my second. And I've seen 2 for Litecoin. And I can tell you pretty much, so I can take that ticker off, pretty much just grab the newsletter, right? Grab the newsletter. If you want more, go to the description. You can get a hold of me that way. Don't expect much on the halving day. Okay. It's going to be a non-event. Bitcoin will be the same to you tomorrow, the day after the halving, as it is the day before. Only the miners and their supply are going to be impacted. That supply shock will be felt in the world of Bitcoin for the next 4 years, and it's going to catch up fast to the price because of the demand. There's a lot of demand, and the supply is starting to go down with all the demand going up, and up. That's just from the 11 ETFs that we know about already, plus Mr. 100, and now other countries are building out their ETFs, and they're going to be jumping in as well. So, a lot said today. Leave a comment down below if you have questions or comments. I do read them all. I get back to them all as well. But if you like this, again, like, share, subscribe, helps out the channel. Send this to somebody. Steer us in our direction. Say, hey, I know a guy that knows about Bitcoin if you have questions. So, a lot said today. I will see you in the next video. Take care.